In the turbulent world of the bold and the beautiful, chaos never truly sleeps. And this week, the drama has reached a whole new level with Luna Nozawa's disturbing spiral into self-destruction. What began as a series of reckless choices has now evolved into something far darker and more desperate than anyone could have imagined. Luna, already infamous for her string of manipulations, betrayals, and dangerous obsessions, has now crossed a new line, one that even her fiercest critics didn't see coming. According to shocking spoilers from CBS's The Bold and the Beautiful, Luna, in a fit of twisted logic, deliberately provokes a fellow inmate into beating her. She believes that getting herself injured will somehow secure her release from prison. But like everything Luna touches, this plan is doomed from the start. Her latest act of manipulation doesn't bring her freedom. It only solidifies her downfall. For weeks, Luna has been trapped behind bars, consumed by resentment, guilt, and an unrelenting hatred toward the people she blames for her predicament. Her relationship with Bill Spencer has deteriorated beyond repair. Once, she might have believed that Bill could save her, that he would use his money, his influence, and his power to get her out of trouble like he had before. But those days are over. Bill is finished cleaning up Luna's messes. The last time he tried to help her, it ended in scandal, heartbreak, and violence. Luna's actions didn't just ruin her own life, they nearly destroyed his family. She assaulted his son, became pregnant in the aftermath, and turned what was once pity into pure disgust. Now, Bill sees her for what she truly is, a manipulative, dangerous woman who thrives on chaos. In the October 21st episode, Bill makes his position clear. He tells Luna coldly and without hesitation that he will not lift a finger to help her this time. He's done being her savior. He's done being the man she manipulates. His words strike like daggers, but Luna refuses to accept defeat. In her twisted mind, she still believes she can control the situation, that she can play victim one more time and force his hand. So she hatches a new plan, one that proves just how unhinged she's become. Luna convinces herself that if she can appear as a helpless, injured woman, beaten and blooded, the prison will have no choice but to move her to the infirmary. Or maybe even release her on compassionate grounds. She thinks she can outsmart the system. So she whispers her scheme to another inmate, promising her favors in exchange for a staged beating. But as always, Luna underestimates the danger of her own games. The inmate she chooses is no actress, no gentle accomplice. She's a violent, hardened criminal with no sense of restraint. What begins as a plan quickly turns into a nightmare. The inmate, known among the prisoners as Leatherface for the brutal scars that mark her face, doesn't hold back. Luna takes punch after punch until she's left bruised and bleeding on the concrete floor. Gasping for air, her illusions shattered along with her pride. When the guards arrive, Luna is barely conscious. The assault has gone too far. She's rushed to the prison infirmary, and even then, her manipulative instincts don't stop. She cries, she wails, she claims she was attacked without provocation. She thinks her performance will stir sympathy, that maybe someone, maybe Bill, will care enough to intervene. But the reality's cruel. No one comes. Not this time. Bill, who once would have moved heaven and earth to protect her, refuses to be manipulated again. He knows exactly what she's trying to do, and he's not falling for it. Bill's reaction to Luna's latest stunt is not one of compassion but of pure exhaustion. He's tired of her chaos, tired of being dragged into her web of destruction. He knows that any attempt to help her will only backfire. As he confides to those closest to him, Luna's not the victim here. She's the problem. He remembers all too well how she used his pity in the past, how she weaponized her own fragility to control him. The last time he tried to save her, it nearly destroyed his family. This time, Bill is resolute. He won't let her manipulate him again. Luna's cries fall on deaf ears. Her pleas for sympathy go unanswered. Even as she's treated for her injuries, the prison officials see through her charade. They know the difference between a genuine victim and a manipulator trying to game the system. The result: instead of being released, Luna is placed under solitary confinement, a punishment meant to keep her isolated from the rest of the prison population. For Luna, this is worse than any physical pain she's endured. Alone in a tiny cell, with no one to talk to, no one to charm, no one to deceive, Luna is forced to face herself for the first time in her life. But does she learn? Of course not. If there's one thing The Bold and the Beautiful has taught its viewers, it's that Luna Nozawa never learns. She is her own worst enemy. Every time she's given a chance to redeem herself, she destroys it with her own hands. Her delusions about Bill, her fantasies about revenge, her refusal to take responsibility, all of it keeps her trapped in a cycle of pain and destruction. Meanwhile, Bill is grappling with his own turmoil. Deep down, he feels conflicted. He may have hardened himself against Luna, but the fact remains that she's the mother of his grandchild, Will's child. The thought of his grandson being connected to Luna fills him with dread. He knows that as long as Luna is alive, she's a threat to his family. Bill's instincts as a father and grandfather kick in. He becomes obsessed with protecting his family from Luna's reach. That's when he makes a decision, one that shocks even those closest to him. He demands that Luna remain in isolation indefinitely. If that's the only way to keep her from causing more harm, so be it. He pulls every string he can behind the scenes to ensure she stays where she is, away from everyone, away from his family, away from his life. Bill's decision may seem heartless, but he's not acting out of cruelty. He's acting out of survival. He's seen what Luna can do when she's desperate, and he's not willing to risk another tragedy. He knows that Luna's mind is dangerous, her obsession with him twisted beyond redemption. By keeping her locked away, he's protecting not only his family but Luna from herself. But the isolation that was meant to contain Luna may end up breaking her completely. In her tiny cell, cut off from the world, her sanity begins to crumble. She replays every moment of her life, every mistake, every rejection. She blames Bill for abandoning her. She blames the system for imprisoning her. But most of all, she blames herself for trusting the wrong people. The hatred she feels begins to burn hotter, feeding on her loneliness. Her obsession with Bill transforms into something darker, more dangerous. She begins to fantasize about escape again, not for freedom, but for vengeance. And while Luna's mental state deteriorates, whispers about her condition begin to spread beyond the prison walls. Rumors reach the Spencer family, stirring fear and unease. Bill's eldest son, Liam, warns his father that keeping Luna locked up in isolation could backfire. "Dad, she's not done," Liam says. "You think you've contained her, but people like Luna, they don't stop. They wait. They plan." Bill brushes off the warning, confident that Luna is broken, that she's finished. But the truth is far more dangerous. Luna's silence is not submission, it's calculation. CBS insiders hint that Luna's story is far from over. In fact, her isolation may become the catalyst for her next act of chaos. Word from the prison is that Luna has already started manipulating the guards, using her charm and cunning to plant seeds of doubt, to find weaknesses she can exploit. She knows how to play people, how to twist pity into opportunity. The same woman who convinced an inmate to beat her is now working on convincing her captors to give her just enough freedom to make her next move. The question now isn't if Luna will strike again, it's when. Her mind is set on one thing, getting out. And when she does, there will be no limits to what she's capable of. The once naive, fragile Luna Nozawa is gone. What's left is something colder, harder, and far more dangerous. As for Bill, he may think he's finally rid himself of her, but The Bold and the Beautiful has never been that simple. Luna's story isn't over, it's just changing shape. She's not done with Bill, and she's certainly not done with his family. Whether it's through manipulation, violence, or sheer force of will, Luna is coming back. And when she does, the Spencer family will once again find themselves in the eye of her storm. So the real question now, will Luna's hatred destroy her once and for all? Or will she succeed in taking down everyone who ever turned their back on her? One thing is certain, the nightmare that is Luna Nozawa has only just begun. The lights in the solitary wing of the prison flickered, casting long, trembling shadows across the concrete walls. Luna Nozawa sat on her cot, staring blankly at the wall in front of her, her body bruised but healing, her mind anything but. Every day in isolation felt like a century. The silence wasn't peaceful, it was maddening. Her thoughts screamed louder than any noise ever could. She replayed everything that had led her here. Every word Bill Spencer had ever said to her, every betrayal, every rejection. Her hatred for him had once been a flicker, but now it was a full-blown inferno consuming every part of her. Bill had left her to rot, and she wasn't going to forgive him for that. At first, Luna had tried to convince herself that this was all part of her plan, that isolation could somehow work in her favor. But as the days stretched into weeks, she realized she was losing control. Her grip on reality began to slip, her mind dancing on the edge of madness. Sometimes she swore she could still hear Bill's voice, calm and cold, echoing in her head. "You did this to yourself, Luna. You're the reason you're here," she would whisper back, her voice trembling with rage. "You'll see me again, Bill. You'll wish you hadn't turned your back on me." Her time in isolation wasn't without observation. The guards, though instructed to avoid unnecessary contact, couldn't help but talk about her. Some saw her as just another manipulative criminal, but others were unsettled by her calm demeanor, the way she seemed to study every sound, every shadow. She wasn't broken like most inmates, they could sense it. Luna was planning something. They didn't know what, but they could feel it, like a storm waiting to break. And then slowly, Luna began to rebuild her plan. She started small, observing the patterns of the guards who brought her food, who checked the cameras, who handled the night rounds. It took weeks, but she noticed the weak link, a younger guard named Carla, who was new to the job, too compassionate for her own good. Carla pitied Luna. She believed that Luna's isolation was cruel, that maybe she didn't deserve such harsh treatment. It was the perfect crack in the wall. Luna started by thanking her softly when she brought meals. Then she began to open up, just enough to tug at Carla's emotions. "You don't know what it's like in here," Luna would whisper through the slot in the door. "No one cares if you live or die." "I made mistakes, but I don't deserve this," Carla would nod, conflicted. Every day, Luna would say a little more, weaving her story carefully. She didn't tell Carla the truth, she never did. Instead, she painted herself as a victim of the system, a woman framed, betrayed, and abandoned. And it worked. Carla began to linger longer at Luna's cell, slipping her small comforts, extra bread, an aspirin, a whispered word of kindness. Luna knew exactly what she was doing, building trust, brick by brick. Meanwhile, outside the prison walls, Bill Spencer's life had returned to a tense but fragile stability. He was focused on his family again, trying to mend fences with his sons, particularly Liam and Will. But even as he tried to move forward, Luna haunted him. He couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't finished, that she was out there somewhere plotting her revenge. Liam had warned him, and though Bill tried to dismiss it, part of him knew his son was right. Luna was dangerous because she was patient, and Bill knew from experience that patience made monsters even more lethal. Then came the letter. It arrived at Spencer Publications, addressed to Bill personally with no return address. The handwriting was shaky but deliberate. Bill opened it, expecting some anonymous complaint or threat from a business rival. But as soon as he read the first line, his blood ran cold. "You think isolation will save you from me. It won't. You took everything from me. My life, my child, my freedom. But you can't keep me caged forever, Bill. When I'm out, you'll be the first to know." "Luna," Bill crumpled the letter, his pulse racing. He immediately called the prison warden, demanding to know how Luna had managed to send a letter from solitary confinement. The warden was baffled. Luna wasn't supposed to have access to writing materials or outgoing mail. "It's impossible," the warden insisted. "She's completely cut off." But Bill knew better. He'd seen this kind of cunning before. Luna was manipulating someone inside. He could feel it. Back in the prison, Luna's plan was moving faster than anyone realized. Carla, now emotionally entangled in Luna's story, had begun to bend the rules more and more. It started with small things, extra blankets, longer conversation times, but it escalated quickly. Luna convinced her that she needed access to paper and a pen to write a letter of apology to the people she'd hurt. Carla, naive and compassionate, believed her. She smuggled in a few sheets of paper and a pen, thinking she was helping a broken woman heal. But Luna didn't write apologies. She wrote threats. She wrote promises of vengeance. And when the opportunity came, she used Carla's trust to her advantage. One night, during the late shift, Luna faked a fainting spell. When Carla rushed into the cell to help her, Luna struck. The attack was swift and calculated. Luna grabbed Carla's baton, knocking her out cold. Then, with the guard's keys and badge, she walked out of the solitary wing like a ghost. By the time the alarm sounded, Luna was already gone. The manhunt began immediately, but Luna was always one step ahead. She knew exactly where she was going. She had spent months dreaming of this moment, planning every detail in her head. Her first stop wasn't freedom, it was revenge. Within days, Bill received another message, this time more direct. A photograph of Will leaving school, with a note written across the back. Family is everything to you, isn't it? Let's see how you feel when it's taken away. Bill's blood turned to ice. The threat was real. Luna had escaped, and now she was targeting what mattered most to him, his family. He immediately called security, putting his entire family under protection. But even with all his resources, Bill knew that Luna was unpredictable. She was capable of anything. Meanwhile, Luna, moving through the shadows of Los Angeles, changed her appearance. Gone was the fragile, broken woman who had once begged for mercy. She had hardened, her face cold, her eyes empty. She was no longer just a fugitive. She was a woman with nothing left to lose. Her obsession with Bill had shifted. It wasn't love anymore, it was vengeance. She wanted him to feel the fear she had felt, the isolation, the helplessness. She wanted him to lose everything. And in her mind, that started with his family. The storylines on The Bold and the Beautiful began to spiral toward a collision course. Luna's escape and her thirst for revenge set the stage for a deadly confrontation that would shake the Spencer family to its core. Bill, torn between guilt and fury, prepared for the inevitable showdown, while Liam, determined to protect his son and father, began his own search for Luna. But Luna was always one step ahead. Every move they made, she seemed to anticipate. She had eyes everywhere, contacts from her past who owed her favors, and a cunning that made her nearly impossible to catch. And then, in a shocking twist, Luna made her move not against Bill but against Hope. Hope Logan, who had been reconnecting with Liam, found herself face-to-face with Luna one evening after leaving Forrester Creations. Luna cornered her in the parking lot, her voice soft but deadly. "You think you can have it all, don't you? Liam, the baby, the perfect life. But you're just another piece in Bill's game, just like I was." Hope barely escaped that night, but it was clear Luna wasn't done. She was building towards something massive, something that would leave the Spencer and Logan families reeling. As the season built toward its explosive conclusion, one thing was clear. Luna Nozawa had evolved from a tragic figure into one of the most dangerous women The Bold and the Beautiful had ever seen. Her descent into madness, her calculated vengeance, and her relentless pursuit of retribution were unlike anything the show had seen before. And somewhere in the distance, Bill Spencer stood staring out over Los Angeles, clutching the latest threatening note from Luna, his reflection dark in the glass. The words burned into his mind. "You took my freedom. Now I'll take your peace." The war between Bill and Luna had officially begun, and this time, only one of them would survive it.